All right, let's get started with lesson one. So this lesson, we are going to work on line work and pattern work so that we could get ready for creating an image together. But first we got to learn some basic patterns and how they come together and how we hide some of the images in the artwork. So we're going to start with our materials, what you're going to need in this lesson. So I made this as easy as possible for you. We're going to use an 8.5 by 11 paper. Doesn't matter if it's computer paper or the paper I use when I'm creating all my originals and when I draw is this drawing paper. I have a lot of different sizes. This is, I cut this one, the 8.5 by 11 out of it, but you can really use any paper that you want. If you don't have a printer, because I did put an attachment where you can print your own sheet so you don't have to draw this out. So if you have a printer, go ahead and print this out and you can use this so it looks just like this, and we could start there. If not, this is your time to go ahead and make your 6 boxes. So I basically did a 1.25 inch around all the border. I went wide 3.25 and the height at 3.75. So go ahead and do that right now, or if you have your sheet and you're ready to go, we can get going on this. So we're gonna start in box 1. We're gonna start easier or simpler patterns and work our way to more difficult in the first 5 boxes. Then the 6th one, we're gonna do a pattern that I've done with Disney in every single piece that I've created for them, and that was my Disney doodle that I've done inside with Mickey Mouse. That very simple to learn, but I want to teach you guys that as well. So let's go ahead and start by, all we really need is a Sharpie. So usually I do pen and ink, but it would just take so long and it's harder to see when we're recording. So we're going to use a Sharpie. Use any color you want. I would say make the number right in the middle. We're gonna just make this, again, simple and basic. We're gonna go ahead and just write the number 1. So about 1 inch to 2 inches, however you want. Once we have that there, we're gonna work our way around that 1 so nothing touches it. We're basically gonna block it out. And this is how I hide the words, pictures, or messages inside of the artwork. So we block it out so nothing could touch that 1, and from here we're gonna box this whole thing out, this whole pattern out, so it'll be easy to just keep that pattern inside of it, because we are only going to do 1 pattern in each section. So go ahead and go all the way around that line where I did the pencil line, or if you have your pencil line you drew, go ahead and just go all the way around so we have this nice and boxed in. Once we have that, the first pattern we're going to work on is just working on our straight lines. You do not need a ruler. Everything that we do, you will not need a ruler when it's time to draw. So work on the best you can from going from one side all the way to the other side as straight as you can, and then you're going to turn the paper and you're going to do that again. So every time you do one, you can even go right in between. You stop, do not cross that 1. So remember, this is like the safe zone inside of the 1. So when you're drawing or going through an image, you just go right through, you stop at that line, and then you just go right through it. So it almost looks like it went under it. And we're gonna keep going from here. So this pattern was actually inspired. A lot of my patterns come from you know, different topics or themes that I'm working on. In baseball, it kind of reminded me the inside of a baseball. So there's almost 3 different patterns that I've done. This was the first one with the baseball. If you've ever cut open a baseball or ripped open the seams, all these lines and strings are actually make the inside. So I called this one baseball, and you'll see one that we'll do when we're working on the other lesson 2 where we use this. I will show you the next step to the baseball seams, or not the seams, the inside, whatever you want to call it. So right here we go. Again, we're right there, and we're just going to pretend to draw right through and almost guess where you think that's going to come out. So you can either hit it right there, just get lines everywhere. You don't really want to bunch them all up in one area as you're drawing. You want to kind of spread them out as much as possible, but do one line at a time. Go down and just make straights. And the reason why you don't want to use rulers also is because it will smear. You know, it'll smear the paper, it'll smear the ruler, and you'll also get you know, whatever medium you're doing, you'll just make it, it really kind of makes a mess. And this is where your line control comes in. So you almost just start up at the top. I know they're a long line. You almost just start at the top and then just drag your hand down as much as you can, and you can this is where you can practice as much as you can. On the short lines, you practice without even moving your wrist. You can just practice going straight up and down. Do lines all over so that you kind of see how this is a big one. Try to break some of those up as best as you can. And then when you feel like you have a decent amount and there's not a lot, we don't want to fill this whole thing up with black. We want to have some space, because again, this is probably as easy of a pattern as it gets, but it looks really cool when it's all done. It just has lines going all over the place, and I do use this in almost every piece. This is one of the earlier patterns that I've been doing. I never studied, you know, art, or I never looked at doodles or pattern books. You know, growing up, I was an 80s 90s kid, so Highlights magazine, Where's Waldo, Bev Doolittle, Magic Eye Mazes, all of those were really my inspiration for this. And I've just always seen things in patterns, so I always try to create a pattern out of whether it's a leaf or a car spring or whatever subject I'm working on. And I think, you know, I was looking at a baseball and the insides, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool, I want to turn a pattern to this. So that's where this one, I know it's a very simple pattern, and a lot of people have probably been using this for a long time, but as you can see right now, you should have patterns going in every single direction, and you should be moving your paper every time you make one. Boom, you make one, you should turn it so that you can try to hit them everywhere you go and let them cross. But that is where mine is gonna stop. I'm gonna do one more right here in the corner. Boom. So there is pattern number one. Look at that. As simple as that, looks really cool. You can see the one hidden, and now it's time to move on to pattern number two.